Wickstead from West Calder High with us today to share their AI journey. So without much further ado, I'll pass over to Louis and we'll just go from there.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen, and if you just give me a quick guess if it's sharing all right once I've got my screen loaded, if that's all right. You see that?
Just waiting for it to filter through. There we go, that's it there.
Perfect. Okay, doke. Okay, so thank you very much for introducing me there, Brian. I'm Louis Wickstead, and I'm a teacher at West Calder High School in West Lothian. And what you should see today is just the kind of rapid fire journey that I've been on with AI. Part of what we're doing at West Calder is quite a lot of work with Daydream Believers. So I've actually got a wee job with them, a wee role with them as a teacher ambassador. You can see that in the bottom there. I was lucky enough to be asked to be part of their kind of extended group of people, of teachers who are delivering the creative thinking qualification, who have maybe just really taken it to heart and really run with it, and they've kind of given me this task of how can I kind of take that a bit further. I'm delighted to be doing that. So you can see that I'm a teacher of creative thinking, but also of photography and art design, the kind of more core traditional subjects there. But I kind of see myself as a teacher of our future creatives and professionals, and that's really the rationale behind getting as much AI into the education I deliver as I possibly can. And you can see my other driving factor there. There's me with my wee boy, and he's going to be obviously one of these future creatives and professionals. So for him, I want to be able to explore the world of the future now, so that I can help him navigate it when he gets to an age where it's going to pretty much be his absolute bread and butter. So I can't really talk about the work I'm doing without explaining further, a wee bit further about Daydream Believers. You'll hear loads from them if you sign up to the session that they're running on Thursday, and I'll be mind-boggling. You'll see more of the work that we're doing in action there, but I've got some action here. At West Calder, we deliver the creative thinking qualification across level 5 and 6, and that runs from S4 6 as well. So we've got started off in our pilot of having 17 pupils do it in S5 and S6 last year, and we've gone up to something like 60 across S4, 5 and 6 this year. We also run the Solar Punk Island pilot, so we're doing that across S1 and S2, so they all get an experience they get exposed, to the Solar Punk Island experience, and we have signed up to the Marseillon pilot that Daydream Believers are running as well. So we've got a pathway from S1 all the way to S6 where people can explore Daydream Believers resources. Yeah. And this arrived in my inbox through one of the Daydream Believers projects. So it was called Forestopia, and the task was to imagine a ride, a shop, or a restaurant for a forest-based theme park where whatever you produced was going to be very friendly and kind of circular to the environment it was in. And all of a sudden one day this guy just presented to me, "Oh, I've used AI to develop a landscape, is that all right?" And my initial reaction last March 2023 was, "I have no idea what I'm doing here. This is well out of my comfort zone. If you know how to use it, fire on with it, because I know that the Daydream Believers ethos is going to be, yes, please do use it." That's how it started in March 2023, and now I'm just going to let this little video play. It doesn't have any volume, it's just an image. This is me using AI built into Padlet. I've now got full classes regularly using AI, using generative AI, using image generation techniques to develop an idea. What you'll see in the next one that scrolls down, you'll be able to see that they're actually reflecting upon and critiquing the quality of the AI as well. So starting to think about, is it doing what I need it to? Can I refine my prompt to make that a bit more of a stronger outcome? But what they're also doing is very rapidly being able to imagine ideas that perhaps would take hours and hours to do through sketching, through digital art. It's an immediate return on their creative thought, and it then allows them to access the next part of their project much more quickly. This is a particularly neat idea. I love it. The project here is called The Music of Your Soul, and it's an immersive experience in 3 parts which explores your relationship with music or sound, and it should be a fully immersive experience. In those three areas, there should be some kind of transition between them. So part of my teacher ambassador role was to explore how much AI we could get into the qualification, and this is one way of discussing fail and fix, which I'll come to in a second. This candidate today has actually developed this this idea much further by building their idea in Minecraft, and she was absolutely buzzing, showing me today 3 different rooms with all the different mannequins starting to interact with one another. So yeah, the creative thinking qualification, for those of you that don't know it, is based around these 5 key concepts: research, conceptualizing, failing and fixing or iterating, communicating and evaluating. And what I've tried to do is frame the work that I've been doing with pupils based on these skills. So far this year, the young folks have used generative AI to conduct research, to generate a range of rapid concepts, ideas, and stimuli, like we've kind of seen there. But we also saw them iterating and refining ideas. They're also generating imaginative ideas, images to communicate their ideas. And you can see on the right-hand side there, these are 2 final outcomes for another project that was called A New Way to Play, which was about designing a physical experience that would get young people to move more, but 4 out of 5 young people aged between 11 and 18 don't get enough physical movement. So these people have both decided that they would combine physical movement with the art of gaming, and design these posters to represent their experiences. They've used it to evaluate and seek feedback on their projects using ChatGPT, and I've also seen somebody generating revision materials just over their shoulder. I need some revision materials. I'm not going to go into the SDA and use their website and use theirs. I'll just go and give me some questions really quickly, which I thought was brilliant. So some of my images are a wee bit blurry there, but what you can see here is a candidate for another project again, which was called #GetOnWithIt, and this one was to try and engage adults in trying to be more active within climate change. So this person was saying, what would you do to stop animals going extinct? That was the research question that they posed to ChatGPT. ChatGPT have then given them 5 points that they could then go and research further. And that's an instant return. That's 15-second work. And they've then got these 5 action points that they can go and work with. And that just doesn't happen with Google. In my experience, if you're looking through Google, you're going to have to filter till you get to this. So it's almost like you're mining for gold much more quickly. And you can see here as well, I've included this because before the use of AI, that candidate had his work assessed and it was a no award. And after the use of AI, his research expanded so exponentially that he went from a no award at level 5 to an A. And you can't get much of a better return there. By using those action points and finding some research based on those 5 headings, he was then able to have a really robust idea and to take that research, which then informed the rest of his project. It was an instant return on his kind of curiosity, and it gave him just the kind of energy to really take his idea and turn it into something completely different. On this page here, you can see people using different image making techniques, but for the same kind of purpose. What the task here was to develop a poster. You can see on the left-hand side some of the work that was put in before one of the posters that was on my kind of young folks page. On the right-hand side here, you can see people starting to think about this. Was a project called Campaign for Kindness, and it was choosing a section of society that you think needed more kindness directed towards it or more awareness. And this was a project about dyslexia. So you can see there, this was an input to a software called Perchance. On the left-hand side, it was a software called Wombo Dream Generator that they used. Now, these are all softwares that have come to my attention because the young people have found them. These aren't things that I'm going out looking for. I'm just saying to them, can you giving them the challenge, find free-to-use software, use it, tell me what's good about it, and if it is good, we can promote that to other people in the class, and now through this, other people across Scotland, which I think is brilliant. Here you've got people seeking feedback, seeking evaluation. So this person put in the prompts, find what their project was. This was another way of another one of the projects that was developed for A New Way to Play. So they popped that into ChatGPT and asked for some feedback. So can you suggest ways that I could improve or develop my physical experience? Can you also suggest alternative names? So they're asking for that refinement. This is where the grey area is, because what I wouldn't then hope to see would be them producing that as their evaluation. But one of my biggest takeaways from the work I've been doing this year is that the young people are responsible and they know where the limitations are. They don't want to present this as their work. They want to take it and then help them refine their work. I've never had anybody present anything to me and say, this is my work, it's all AI. They've always said, I've used AI to get to this. It's almost like the middleman. I've used it to get to this point, or I've used it to help me visualize this, or I've used it here. I've used it to help me evaluate and improve my idea. But I've gone and done that work myself as well. In terms of me, As a practitioner, I have used Gen AI to streamline and completely revitalise my way of working. Like I've said, they're conducting research. The young people do it, but I'm actively taking part in one of the projects with the young people. So I'm doing the Music of Your Soul project. You can see my wee sketchbook for that on the right hand side. So a lot of my work within that, I've tried to use ChatGPT to conduct research, both primary and secondary, and I'll speak about that in a second. I have used it to generate lesson plans, or plans as I put in there, wee typo, for everyday teaching, but also for kind of quite significant observations. And I've got a wee snapshot of how I've used that later on in the slideshow too. I used it to generate reports for BGE. So the same way as I would kind of, if I've got quite a large amount of classes, I would probably usually think about having 3 or 4 generic statements that I could then moderate and change for young people. I just asked ChatGPT to do that for me, and it was so much better than I could write. So there's probably 45 minutes to an hour saved straight away. I've used it to help me produce engaging learning resources. Like you'll see, there's quite a lot built into my sketchbook there, and that has actually catalysed quite a lot of work in creative thinking. The young people regularly come and have a look at my sketchbook, which then helps their sketchbooks become much more robust and more inventive and creative and individual. Um, I've used it to include industry, again, another wee typo, industry standard digital tools and subject specific and IDL lessons, because I feel like it's developing skills for the future. Young people are going to use generative AI in the careers they go into. That's just a fact. So it doesn't make sense to me to withhold it from them. And that's a wee bit of my beef with the kind of they have kind of put out there. It seems like it's a grey area as well, but it feels very much like, no, don't use it. And I don't understand why, because we're all going to have to embrace this. We're not even going to have to embrace it. Embracing it has actually revitalised my love for teaching. So, and at the end there, sourced CLPL materials. I've found readings through this that have then helped me visualise my kind of love for AI and my love for how it's enhanced my practice as well. So primary research, I asked ChatGPT to act as Joe Strummer, and we'll come back to him later. To act as Joe Strummer so that I could interview him. And I've included a wee excerpt on the side there. If any of you know Joe Strummer, it actually sounds like him. It reads like him, and it's probably all just filtered through his interviews that exist out there in the ether. But for me, it felt magical. So I told my pupils that I had done that, and they have also done that. So there was one pupil who asked Kendrick Lamar, and the results they got were so unique as well. They were completely in Kendrick Lamar's voice and gave them a point of view of somebody who, they're never going to be able to interview, but it gives them the feeling that they have. It's just really rewarding, but also produces kind of little tidbits of information in there that have then spearheaded some of my research further on in the project. You can see that I've modelled my use of the Padlet there. So that Padlet that I showed earlier, I've been using it as well, and I've used it to show the pupils how I would do it. You can see in my sketchbook there that I've made it really clear that I've got the generative AI in there. But actually, the aha moment down here comes from the sketching. It comes from a little happy accident that the AI pulled up, but then I've developed that through drawing and sketching and writing and text and kind of engagement, take it to the next level. And by modelling that, my hope is that the young people are then going to say that's the right way to go about it, is to use it, but to understand that it has limitations and it can never fully realise the idea that you want to create. You need to do that part yourself. Now, this is the lesson plan part. I asked it to generate a series of lessons for Solar Punk Island so that I could show the staff who are delivering Solar Punk Island in our school how they can streamline their workload and not have to really spend hours trawling through lesson plans to try and produce a really robust experience. ChatGPT will do it for you and they'll nail it pretty much. But what I have done there is I've put in colour coded a blue, everything that's blue is ready to go, is really, really good, is nice, I like it. And anything that's pink, I've said actually maybe 20 minutes for an introduction to solar punk is too much. So I can iterate it into something that's more usable for me. But that has cut down a lot of work. I haven't had to sit there and go, oh, what am I going to do for the first 5 minutes? What am I going to do for the second 20 minutes? Or where am I going to find these resources? And it's really quick and easy. And that's a visual of how my mind works. So I'm not necessarily going to print that out and annotate it every time we try to do a lesson. But that's how I would then say, oh, well, I've got the lesson there. That was really quick. That was really easy. That's freed up time for me to go and actually rotate around the class and have meaningful conversations with young people. And this is what I was saying about the CLPL. Now, Kirsty, I think you'll recognise this because I believe you've done this for the handbook that Adrian Believer are going to launch recently as well. And they asked, the task was to find a little quotation about the use of AI and then to annotate it. So for me, that is an act of CLPL. That's me looking at my professional learning and actually justifying my use of AI. So I think it was really nice to kind of find a perspective there that allowed me to think about why am I using it and how is it embellishing what I do and how is it enhancing what I do, and how just a rationale and a reason behind it, basically. So some of the software that we've used linked here, but the challenge is at the bottom. Anything that the young folks can find. I mean, most of them have come across this. I kind of used Canva habitually. I used Adobe Express Beta. In fact, actually, I went on a call with Adobe to find out how much it would cost the school to download Photoshop so that we could use their generative AI. And the guy said, well, it's going to cost you this, but don't bother. You sign up to Adobe, you get access to that through the beta anyway, so it's free. So these happy accidents and occurrences have come through AI coming into my kind of horizon as a teacher. Perchance, Hotpot, Wombo, DPI, they've all come from the young people. They've said, we like this, we use this, why don't you tell other people about it? So that they're there for you to kind of research and see if they would add to your practice too. And just to pull it together, I've got a couple of quotes there from Joe Strummer. People can change anything they want to, and that means everything in the world. AI is going to help us do that, but people are behind AI. It was them who decided to make AI a thing. You know what I mean? But the part of AI that's really beautiful is that its limitations will always be there. It's going to take the partnership between us and AI to ensure that the future is a really, really, really good place. And that's where the future is unwritten comes in as well. People can do anything. This is something I'm beginning to learn. It's time to take humanity back into the centre of the ring and follow that for a time. Without people, you're nothing. So that's a helpful reminder to AI as well, that we're still here and we're not going away, but we want to work with you, and that's my kind of ethos. This thing is coming, it's here. Why don't we embrace it? And why don't we really explore how far we can push it and see what we can do with it and see where that takes us into the future? So I'm going to stop sharing and, yeah, open myself to questions if anybody's got any, I think.
That's great, Louis. Thanks very much. I will enable the cameras and mics for everyone in just a second to ask them. Let me just stop the recording there, and then we'll move on. There we go. So I'm having all sorts of issues today with my participants. Allow mic for attendees, allow mics, and allow cameras for attendees. There we go. Okay, Louis, thanks very much. That was really interesting. Really interesting to see how it's actually evolved and being used within your domain, which is photography and art and creative thinking and that type of stuff. Is that your main thing? It's really interesting because we were speaking to a teacher yesterday whose background, whose teaching is design technology and computer science and that type of thing. So really quite interesting about the different uses. But what was interesting that I thought is that a lot of similarity between the actual application of this generative AI in the sense it's used during the ideation process and the iteration and refinement. There's less and less AI used and more the human input that comes in there. I found that really interesting to see that being modelled actually in two different schools, two different subjects. One question I have before anyone else perhaps wants to come in is how do you deal with some of the age-related issues that come with AI? I know that some of these tools do have age restrictions and the like.
So I think we use Padlet because we can overview that. There's trust there. I'm a responsible adult who's got the overview of pupils generating that. I know ChatGPT is definitely that's got a kind of more senior age restriction, so we wouldn't be expecting it to be GE people who's using that. But most of our senior pupils who are using that give us the reassurance that they have got parental permission to be using that, and that seems to be what the age restriction is. It seems to be that it's with permission they can be using that. So long as we can monitor the respective use of it, and so long as it's ethically deployed, I think that's trust as well. I think just me trusting the fact that they're going to use it responsibly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know
I
that.
feel like that really fully answers
No,
your
no,
question.
no. I just it's just that I'm very aware that you know, those age-related issues when it comes to the use of applications and software, and it might be storing data about a young person. It's got big ramifications and challenges for schools and local authorities. So interesting to know if anything comes back on the back of it. To be honest, does anyone else have
Yeah, I mean, it may well.
any any other questions for Louis while we're all here together? You can just stick your mic on, camera on if you want to just come in. There's only 14 of us.
Hi, Louis.
I am.
When the kids are using ChatGPT, are you getting them to log in via their own accounts?
So in many cases, they seem to already have them. When I was talking about the boy who was developing his own revision, he was on a kind of communal laptop out in it. I've got a plaza area outside my classroom. I just saw him doing that on his own. That was fully unprompted.